Once upon a time, there was a young man living in a small village at the base of a mountain. He was known throughout the village for being incredibly lazy. While others worked hard in the fields or crafted in their workshops, he spent his days lying under a tree, lost in daydreams or asleep. One day, a wise old monk visited the village and called the young man over. "My child," the monk said, "I have a task for you. I want you to climb to the top of the mountain and return with a single feather from its highest peak." The young man glanced at the mountain and laughed. "That's impossible. I'm much too lazy to make that climb." The monk smiled kindly and replied, "But the feather you seek isn't on the mountain itself. It rests in a cave beyond the mountain, which can only be reached by first climbing to the summit and descending the other side." Curiosity sparked in the young man. He had never heard of such a feather, and the challenge intrigued him, so he decided to accept the monk's task. The climb was long and tiring, and he quickly found himself sweating and out of breath. But as he ascended higher, a new feeling began to stir, an excitement he had never known before. By the time he finally reached the top, he was completely exhausted, but an overwhelming sense of achievement filled him. The view from the peak was breathtaking, and he felt a kind of pride he'd never experienced. Yet the real challenge was still ahead. He had to climb down the far side of the mountain to find the cave where the feather was hidden. The descent was even more dangerous than the climb, and he tripped and fell many times along the way. But he kept going, motivated by the thought of the feather waiting for him. Finally, he arrived at the cave and saw the feather gleaming in the soft light. Picking it up, he admired its beauty, but then a problem dawned on him. How would he get back up the mountain to return the feather to the monk? For a moment, he thought about giving up, but then he recalled the pride and accomplishment he had felt when he first reached the summit. He realized that if he could do it once, he could do it again. So he started his climb back up, even though his body ached and his lungs burned. He refused to quit, driven by the knowledge that he had overcome his laziness once and could do it again. When he finally reached the monk and offered the feather, the monk smiled warmly and said, "Well done, my son. You've learned a valuable lesson today. Laziness is not a state to accept. It is an obstacle to overcome." The young man nodded, understanding the wisdom behind the monk's words. He realized that he had always been capable of great things, but his laziness had held him back. Now he knew that with determination and effort, no challenge was beyond him. The monk's challenge teaches us that laziness is not something to tolerate, but a hurdle to be surmounted. When we push ourselves to pursue our goals, even those that seem out of reach, we discover strength and resilience we didn't know we had. To defeat laziness, we must set ambitious goals and work toward them, no matter how difficult they seem. We must push past our limits and keep going, even when setbacks arise. We also need to create discipline and consistency in our daily lives. By following a routine, we can build positive habits that keep us productive, even on days when we lack motivation. Additionally, adopting a growth mindset is crucial. This means seeing challenges and failures as opportunities for growth instead of reasons to quit. With a growth mindset, we can turn failures into stepping stones for improvement and success. Ultimately, overcoming laziness requires stepping outside our comfort zones and embracing the challenges and opportunities that await us.